There it is. There it is.
It's the time to go home yet.
No. Watch your ad boy. You know, I got that ad-free YouTube. I signed up like a month or so ago.
Premium? Yeah.
Yeah. That's the way to go.
Yeah, it's nice.
And the thing is, I don't like paying to do the cheapery, but the amount of time that I don't spend screaming at the TV and yelling, I think I'm saving my money in medical bills because you can't. It's the thing about YouTube. It's like you can't get too mad because they're giving you all this free stuff.
Did you get the light version without the?
This was the freebie. I was like, hey, they were like, sign up for this 3 months. I'm like, okay, sounds good to me. Maybe after it's over, I'll sign Luke up for 3 months, and then Tree, and then Gooch can sign up, and Booch. All my other children they don't know about. They can all sign up for the service. How was your Memorial Day weekend, Brent?
Dreadful.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, well, it happens.
Did you guys have any?
You weren't around here, man. They shot off fireworks Sunday and Monday.
Oh, really?
Now, I don't know if they were official fireworks. In fact, I'm almost certain they weren't. But
yeah,
the neighborhood.
Look, it's Explorer. Good to see you, X. Haven't seen you for a while, brother. It's good to see you. You know, our neighbors shot off some fireworks, but they weren't that loud nor annoying. By the way, thanks for mowing our lawn, eh?
I didn't do it.
What do you mean you didn't do it?
I did not mow your lawn. I don't know who did. I honestly did not mow your lawn.
So I don't know who mowed our lawn?
I have no idea.
Who would have mowed my lawn?
I don't know.
I don't know what to say about that. What's up, Flack, Larry?
The day I was going to mow, I was driving by and I was like, he must have mowed his lawn before he left.
Well, I didn't because it wasn't that high when I left, you know.
I don't know. It wasn't me, though.
Good, because it wasn't the best job. Now that I see it, but I didn't want to say that to you. I was like, man, Brent, that tractor's already jacked up. What do you do when someone else mows your lawn? I don't know how to react to that. Do you?
Again, like I said.
That's never happened to me. And the thing is, the lawn wasn't high. It wasn't high at all.
Dude. I don't know. I do not know what to tell you, but it was not me.
Hey, Explorer, this background, we're going to get into vivid detail because I've been here. We'll get into it. Yeah. Wow, Flack, thank you. Flack mode it. For some reason, I find that difficult to believe. But yeah, hey, do it next time, too. Yeah, it sounds good to me. How many of you in here would say that the Atari ST is your favorite computer? Raise your hand. Show of hands. If the Atari ST is your favorite computer, let's see. I'm taking an informal poll here.
Aaron, there's only 10 people in chat.
That's right. And I want us out of these 10 people and see how many love the Atari ST. All right, and let me. Yeah, okay. How about this? How many people in here have played an Atari ST game in the past 6 months?
No, go longer than that.
No, I'm working on an informal poll. If you've played with the Atari ST in the last 6 months,
emulator or real thing,
yeah, sound off. Well, guess you don't count because you co-host the show.
Well, I still have.
Oh, Petzl, you're killing me. Nope, nothing. Okay. This is the last part of my poll. If you've ever touched an Atari ST computer in any way or emulated it for some reason, have you ever done that? How about that? That's got to get some action. Not you.
No.
You don't count. You don't count at all.
See? Rob has.
No, okay. He has touched an Atari ST. Okay. So, I think we know where we're at now. Okay, got it. What's up, JP? Hey, Wing Chun. Holy smokes. So, what you guys are saying is, not a ton of people in here that have, are,
well-versed
or particularly fond of the Atari ST.
No, that's not fair. No. That doesn't make them fond or not fond of.
Okay, let me rephrase. it tells me that not a lot of people are firing up STs or XT emulators to play ST games.
Yes,
that's what it tells me.
That is fair.
Because touching one, that's the lowest, that's as far from the...
To be fair, have I ever physically used a real ST? I don't know. I haven't.
I have. I own an ST. But sorta. To put it in perspective, I've never touched the one I own. Which is not a good thing. You know. Some days I want to violently touch it. Because of,
touch it with both hands.
In fact, this week is one of those days. I would like to violently touch it. Yeah. Trust me. The Atari ST would file for a restraining from the restraining order. They want you to touch it. They love it. You know, I feel bad for this computer, but it's just like the that Amstrad console, right? You know what I'm talking about? So you got the Amstrad computer.
Yeah.
They pulled an Amiga. They said, hey,
yeah, I know.
The computer bellows out, let's make a console. Well, the console was no good.
Yeah, I know.
In fact, they would put games on one of the packing games, you couldn't play that keyboard. It didn't have a keyboard, as I recall. That doesn't make everything ever made for the Amstrad bad. It just makes that machine not that good. And the Atari ST, if this was 1986, we'd be in the fat. We'd be laughing.
Well, you know what we should do?
I'd teleport if I go back in time.
I think, and this might be this is a hot take opinion.
All right, go ahead.
I think that instead of doing the Atari ST show, we should just do the Atari show.
Just any random Atari from any computer?
From 2600 consoles all the way up to the ST. Because then you've got your 400s, your 800s, you know, which we have a far greater understanding
Plus, I
of.
own a 400, and I've got the Atari XEGS in there, and I've got the multi-card.
And you can talk, and we can talk about some of the lesser known
consoles.
Yeah, like the what was the 5200?
5200. I got one of those too. I've never hooked it up. It's scary. You know, Brent, you may
Lynx, Jaguar, the whole
You know, you may have stumbled onto something. You may have stupidly, dopily, like Curly Joe, stumbled onto something here, the Brent. This may bear some further investigation. It would open it up a little bit.
It would. It would. Because I definitely think, and I know you agree with this.
Yeah.
Atari is certainly a large enough player in the history of video games.
Yeah.
That exploring it is a viable show.
Here's an informal poll. How many of you people have ever touched any Atari? Ever played a game on any Atari?
And this also includes
the
Atari,
Jag, any of those.
And Atari arcade games, Indiana Jones, that type of thing.
That's the first one you come up with. From the entire pantheon of Atari games, Indiana Jones is the one you come up with.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
It wasn't that good. I mean, they made asteroids and crap.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
The first one you think of was on the...
You know why?
No.
Great music. And sound effects.
But it's not like they made it originally.
That was whoa!
Okay, let's see. Yes. Console 2600. See, the 2600 they don't get enough love. Yeah. Oh, 7800 too. Good point. Even Leroy. Now there could be an Atari show out there. We may have to work on the name.
Well, you know, yeah. No, I'm not saying that.
We're spitballing here, by the way. I mean, we love the ST.
Get the ST out. It's time to ST-op the Atari ST Show.
I mean, we can still cover the ST, too.
Oh, no, agreed. Because it
Plus,
counts.
all the Falcon coverage that any man would want.
Which we've already done.
Remember the infamous Falcon episode of ARG? It's like emulation. Good luck. Remember that monster truck game? We tried to play the dirt truck. Holy God. All right, thank you. That's hey, at least the people in the chat, the people that were kind enough to show up for the Atari ST Show, they're like, oh God, look at this game. And then when we mentioned that, they're like, oh crap, anything else? Yes, anything.
Yeah.
You know, we might get some action.
This might be a thing.
I will say this.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now, because here's the funny thing. It
is funny.
I know. It's hilarious. I used to listen to a show dedicated to the Jag.
Oh.
Well, hold on.
I hope you mean the car.
Hear me out. No, I don't mean the car.
Oh.
I used to work for a guy that sold Jags.
Okay.
The car. But anyway, this show was the most in-depth show ever. He would go in, I mean, each game. Think of like Kasumi Ninja. All right, remember that one? Where the kilted guy farts, you know? So think about a show about that goes on for 2 hours. Ooh. With every conceivable point total. This was the most comprehensive Jag show of all time. One day it just went away. I guess he just gave up or something because I never saw it again. I listened to a show where these guys go game by game through, I mean, not in order, just randomly, but they play Atari computer games. But I haven't heard them release an episode for like, I don't know if they've released one in the past year of this game.
Maybe they finished.
No, I think they were also very comprehensive Atari guys. Now, where are we in the comprehensive Atari guy zone?
Well, I mean, we have extensive real life period.
Here it is. No, that's not it.
We have real life period appropriate use of the 2600.
That's true. I own 2 or 3 of those.
The 400, the 400 and 800 computers. Definitely all the arcade stuff.
Yeah. So I typed in Atari here. Because I'm thinking, I wonder how many shows in here that have Atari in the name. Right? And by the way, ours came up. Because even this channel has one that we haven't done for a while. There's the 5200 podcast, the Lynx, the 7800. Oh boy, this has got to be, I'm not ragging on it, but listen to this one. It's all about Atari productivity.
If they don't shoot that from a hot tub, they're doing it wrong.
Then there's that Jaguar game by game show. I got to see the last time this guy did a show. 2 years ago, it says here. Antic, of course. Then you got the Atari 2600 game by game show, and then Atari Bytes. It says it's what's coming up here. Atari Bytes hasn't done a show for 2 years either.
Wow!
But they had 331 episodes of that one. They may went through all the Atari games on that. So I mean, there may be some room to think we could shoehorn in. We might be able to shoehorn. This guy's still active. The Atari 2600 game by game podcast.
Now, the best thing to do when you start up your stream is give a list of things that other people that you should go watch instead of us.
Well, don't you want to know what the landscape is like?
No, I don't care about that at all. Are you kidding me?
I don't want to step on anybody's toes. Sorry, the Brent. I mean, the hat came off. You know it's serious. You know. Yeah, well, Floppy Days covers a bunch of stuff, don't they? I used to listen to that show, you know, so. But Wilson, there's no Atari show that me and you host, so I think we're in.
I mean, sometimes we host it.
Why don't we put a pin in this? Listen, if you're, because we're going to release the pre-show, right? Don't you always release these? So
to the Patreon,
If you're listening to the pre-show for this, and you have an opinion, we should always do this, like.
It wouldn't be a new show, Rob. It would be a replacement show.
Oh, yeah.
We wouldn't do the ST show and the Atari show. That's just madness.
Plus, it'd be easy for me to change the thumbnails and stuff. Just get the eraser and go, right? But, I mean, also, concept of the Atari show, that's a pretty big matzo ball.
No. We'll have to come up with something cool.
How about the Atari show, and then we'll put an asterisk beside Atari. You know, like a wild card. The Atari Splat Not Splat show. Just like we used to load stuff. That would get over, right? Just putting weird asterisks in there.
With the exception of, how many Atari systems use the Splat system?
I don't know. The computers, I guess, and that's it. Yeah. Look at that. Who got banned? Look at Pencil. The Atari Bleep show. God. Oh, yeah, I can unban that, can't I? Somehow, if I get the mouse to go up there, where's my mouse at? Is it on the screen? There it is. I'm not good at this. Here we go. Bam, look at that. Adjudicated. So anyway, to be continued. But if you're listening to this, by the way, if anyone has any opinion on anything we ever do,
keep it to yourself. We don't want to hear it. Oh, wait.
Please we've got an email address that just languishes. We haven't mentioned it for probably 7 months. argpresents@mail.com will get you.
Or the retrorotation@gmail.com.
No one. I've never even used that one myself. Do you ever check that?
Yes, I check it every day.
Do we ever get any mail there?
No.
Oh. Well, so now we've got 2.
Well, no, that's not true. All of our Patreon stuff comes through there.
Or Discord would be good. If you have a thought. Or maybe a suggestion for a good name, that would be not too bad. Because if someone else names it and people don't like it, we can blame that guy. Listen, Petzl said the Atari Bleep Show would be good. That would get us over. That's what he told me. He's never steered me wrong before. What's up, Explorer?
Wait, you still keep it the Atari ST Show.
What are you doing?
But you put just a little bit of a gap between the S and the T and put 2 asterisks.
I misread what Explorer wrote. I thought it said Rolf. I was like, what does that say mean? I was like, oh, I got it. You're far away, Explorer, from the text. ATAR-G. What does that mean?
Instead of ARG.
Oh, yeah, that's all.
See, that's why we can't do it, Rob.
Starting to think this is a bad idea now. I started thinking it's a horrible plan. In retrospect, it's Atari ST forever.
Suddenly, I'm excited about this show.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
I will say, having loaded up, because this game, of course, was not on my Atari ST Mister, so it was time to go hunting. Then I had to get the right disc format. Then I had to load up the disc.
Hey, noob.
And so this was not the easiest game to play. Whereas, like, let's say 1 week it's like, hey, this is Atari 5200 a week, or Atari. Those you just got, burp, you're in.
Well, yeah.
There's no planning or thought.
Outside of the Falcon, of course, the ST is by far the hardest. Well, and it's not hard. In fact, I got it running from my car.
Now here's from your car.
Yeah.
You ran it on your car?
No, I was in my car.
Oh, should you do that while you're driving?
Well, you know.
Here's my next question. Are we gonna like line up all the systems and every show we're gonna do it?
Oh no, we'll have to figure out something.
Because
I prefer
since we only do this show every 40 days or so, it might be a long time.
Well, now that it's becoming a multi-system show, might become a.
What are we doing here? I don't like where this is going.
Maybe we'll weave it in.
Listen, you're going to cut into our ARG expand.
Well,
you're going to piss off up to 7 people. You understand?
You saw the numbers from the last show. We can explain to both people. It's for
if
the
we're going to go by the numbers, congratulations. This is the All R Sinclair Show. Welcome back, everybody.
ZX
or welcome to ARG Presents, and we'll be covering the ZX Spectrum. We know where our bread's buttered. Oh, God.
We'll just spin a very weighted wheel. I mean, you'll like click back and then swing back the other way until it lands on the ZX again.
Rob wants a show where you do a test stimulus in your car. That's good stuff. Maybe the chat should have a show. We should just walk away. Maybe that's what should happen.
Oh, man.
Well, that was fun. That's already better than I thought the show would be.
Well, time to drive it downhill. We'll start the show proper.
Hey, do you have some pre-show jargon you want to get into?
Jargon?
You know,
no, I have no jargon.
You want me to do the little opening, or are you going to do it?
You mean the
because you're always so good at those, yeah.
Yeah, I got something.
I will say before we start, and this is a compliment, your beard is in good form today. Look at that. You've got a real winner there, I think.
It's hot.
You know, Flack just shaved himself, completely clean-shaved himself up at the park.
Well, he's got to get that swimming competition.
Well, is that what that is? Well, I'm saying
Hey, Hap.
He looked smooth. What's up, Happy? In fact, he shaved half his face and razor in that juice. So he walked around with looking like a...
I hope when he shaved, he went from like left to right.
He did.
That's perfect.
So his wife was less pleased than you would imagine. All right, here we go, everybody. Enough of this banter. How about some other banter? Banter that you've all been waiting for. It's about the Atari ST computer, everyone's favorite. The one you've barely touched and never played. That's the one we're after. That's where the money's at, folks.
Pajaco's going to be crestfallen.
Pajaco plays with the phone half the time. Get me out of here. He doesn't care. He's down. Okay, everybody, we're going to crank this sucker up old school, everybody. Here we go.
Rodney versus KFC. We swear, folks, this is going to be the last episode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the People's Choice, everyone's favorite. It's the Atari ST Show with me, Amigo Aaron, and to a lesser extent, the BRENT.
How's it going? Oh, I did it! I got the thumb up!
Very good. Nice work, eh? This week on the Atari ST Show,
stuck.
what is? There you go.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just like Young Frankenstein. I'll tell you where to stick that thumb.
Putting on the Ritz!
Oh, God. This week on the Atari ST Show, the BRENT, we have spared no expense to bring you the highest quality public domain software that the I can't even get this out that the Atari ST has to offer, as we'll be sampling Rodney versus KFC.
Well, considering it was served as an appetizer, I'm glad we're just sampling.
Yeah, no kidding. So, just in case you're watching and you should be watching our lovely live video version.
Not really.
We're sitting in front of the very first Kentucky Fried Chicken. I visited this place when I was in Kentucky, going to the arcade, the pinball arcade, the museum. It's in Corbin, Kentucky, and this small cafe you see before you is the very first place that the secret recipe was ever developed by the Colonel.
Yes.
Put this thing down. Made some delicious chicken. I went into this place.
I put it like that.
I went in here. They've got a museum, and you're not watching at home, it's air quotes, which is a wall dedicated to 2 or 3 pictures from those original days, the Colonel. I also talked to a guy one time who had the Colonel and his wife live in his basement. That's a shoot. One of the people I met along my mini prison tours. And he said the Colonel was a real nice guy, real sharp dresser, as we all know.
I've heard conflicting statements about that.
I've always heard he's a real good guy. This decent. Most KFCs, of course, don't look like this. This looks like an old cottage, or something. But the funny thing is, the KFC that we're looking at is not really the KFC mentioned in the title of this game.
No.
But we'll get into that a little bit later. We wanted to talk about something that's more at the forefront of this game, and what that is ripping off other games' stuff and sticking it in your own game and it's saying, hey, here's a game.
That's it. Yeah, for those that don't know, Rodney versus KFC is it's not a solo effort, but it's a small team, first-time effort where a lot of the art, if not all of the art, was sprite swapped from other games.
Particularly Rough and Tumble from the Amiga. Including the lead character, which we'll get into that when we get into the background of this game.
And this, boy, talk about a subject I have very mixed feelings on.
Oh, yeah?
Right. I think that, first of all, to this guy's credit, or this team's credit, they never planned on making a profit off this. This was never for sale.
Good move.
This was always a look at the project I did and gave it to the people, the ST people, and freely, never tried to charge for it. It was just a thing. It was a project that they did. They had fun with it. In that regard, if you aren't trying to profit from someone else's work, especially to the extent that this was ripped off, big thumbs up. I have no problem with that. If you're going to do fan games or even just use the assets from other games just to do your own thing, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
It was pretty clear and was stated pretty clearly that this was all just him seeing if he could do it, sort of affair. And I don't expect someone to learn animation if their goal was just to see if they can program a game. Other games that have done this, I think probably, in my opinion, one of the more famous recent ones would have been the I Want to Be the Guy series, where they took assets from hundreds of games. I mean, you fight Mike Tyson from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and it's got Castlevania and Metroid and Kid Icarus, tons of your classic NES and other titles, and mushed it all together into this super hard game.
The one that comes to mind for me, this is an obvious one, it's Mugen, which they take all the different fighters and sometimes non-fighters from other fighting games, and smushed them into various wacky games. Another one, Beats of Rage, where they make their own beat 'em ups using the assets of other games. And some of those are, I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes they make their own assets that are real nice. But these are both pretty much ran completely on ripped off art, and which is funny to me because then the community has huge, horrible fights about who ripped off the art better and who ripped off someone else's ripped off art.
Well, that's a Mugen thing for sure, because it's such a community-driven asset. In those regards, I don't really have a problem with it, but if you're using stolen stuff to commercially produce a game, I got no love for that. That has recently come up again for Bungie's Destiny series.
Didn't it just come up for their game that was based on their old Apple release, and that someone that had used art from another artist who called him out on the table. Yeah. So that's what you're talking about. Yeah. I'm trying to name. I wish I could remember the name. It's the one that they released on the Apple back in the day. No, it's not Decathlon, but it sounds like Decathlon. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
But yeah,
someone will know.
That when you have full studios behind you that have the means to pay for that kind of stuff.
Marathon.
Decathlon.
Sorry, it just broke me up when you said that.
I got a big problem with. You're a solo developer and you want to stick some garbage into your assets. I don't got a problem if you don't plan on making a profit, but yeah.
I will say, especially back when I played the Xbox a lot, a lot of the PD stuff that appeared, of course it was probably for the PC too, would be like new Zeldas, new Castlevanias, new Mario, new this and that. And I'm like you. As long as you don't try to make a buck. In fact, I wouldn't even mind too much if they could make a couple bucks for their time, you know. But I'm crooked. That's the problem.
That's true.
You know. So.
What about remixes? People who, or like a real popular thing is, you remember the Legend of Zelda from the NES, right?
I do.
Not
my favorite.
Where they randomize the map.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that kind of stuff.
What if they were selling that? Were you good to go on that?
No, you couldn't sell that. No.
Well, not with Nintendo around, but like
Nintendo might copy strike us for saying the word Zelda.
Yeah, good point. But I don't know. I'm pretty liberal. It helps when you're untalented because you pretty much have to steal everything, and so what are you gonna do? But yeah, I can see where people would get annoyed if you hork their gimmick. But like, as long as you don't charge for it, I say the sky's the limit. How many games though have been shut down by the
lot.
Look at that. Remember that GTA game they watched? They put all those assets and stuff at high def and everything, and then like they let it slide until it was time for them to release the remake of the GTA series, which they did a horrible job of, as we all remember. And then they took those guys down. That's dirty pool, as far as I'm concerned.
It is.
The problem, here's what happened with projects like that, right? When they take these fan projects down, the fan project should just be in the underground, like in the old days.
Well, and who's to say it isn't?
Yeah, but they're like, we're formally taking it down. We're going to cease production because they're scared. Nah. Just never announce it. Just pass it around on the table. No one will know. That's the way I like to do it.
There are definitely people out there to do that. But that was not what happened today as we take a look at Rodney versus KFC.
Nice transition. Love theme.
Yeah, and I will have to say, to our knowledge, the music on this is original.
I don't know.
Oh.
I do know there was a... So let me go over the credits here. Maybe we can figure this... Maybe between the two of us we can figure it out here. So this is Rodney versus KFC. This came out in 2019. It's funny. 2019, it's 6 years ago as we record this. And it seems like a long time ago, but then I looked at like Indie Retro News had covered it and stuff like that. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember when this came out. So this was completed in GFA Basic. This is a one-player game with joystick. Developer on this is credited to a guy named Padman Remakes. The guy's name's Padman, and apparently Padman's German. In case you're wondering, I don't know what Padman means over there. The graphics on this are credited to Padman. and a fellow named Robin Levy, who worked on Last Ninja 3 on the Atari ST. Now, here's the thing. I don't know these other creditings. I don't know if they're from the original versions
game.
of things or whatever. And I looked around, and I could find practically zero on this game.
Yeah.
The design, of course, Padman. The music on this is credited to Frank Seaman, who worked on a lot of PD stuff, like a lot of stuff that was like shareware. And
sure.
He also worked on a couple of budget games. The sound effects in this are credited to Richard Joseph. Richard Joseph's a huge deal. So something tells me that they credited the guy who did the original music that they horked.
Sure.
Like I said, I mentioned that this was some of the graphics in this were horked, particularly the main character from a game that me and Bo covered on Amigos called Rough and Ready. It's Rough and Ready. I get that and Rough and Tumble confused. It may be Rough and Tumble now I think about it. But it's a 1994 Amiga game, which is a really good, real fun shoot 'em up game. But I'd heard somewhere that this was maybe getting a port, but I think people got confused when this game was being made. Because I couldn't find anything that said that the Amiga game had ever gotten a port.
Nor did I.
Just a Rough and Tumble. Thank you, Porthal. That's why we always go live, so the live chat can tell us when we screw up. That way, it saves people listening at home time. So are you ready for the backstory? Because we sort of have to talk about the backstory.
You do, yes.
Oh, by the way, if you're watching at home, this is me playing. The game, because I couldn't find a decent run of this thing, and so I thought I would put my indecent one up. So the story behind this, Rodney, who's the step triplet of Rough and Rad Rogers, which are the two guys from Rough Table, has just had his disc collection nicked by the Klepto Foreign Chickens KFC gang while on his way to Dullsville Copy Party. All right, hey, I've been there. As the KFC have been terrorizing the town for way too long now, Ronnie decides to put an end to it, so he heads back to his home, grabs his anti-chicken gun, and runs to the KFC hideout. Once arrived at the location, he notices that he's only got 5 minutes and 30 seconds left until the bus departing for Dullsville. He needs to find and fry all the chicken gang fast, and he also needs to get all of his discs back in time. That's the premise of this game. So the KFC in this stands for the Klepto Foreign Chickens. Now, to run this game, and who wouldn't want to, you're going to need a 1 meg in your Atari ST and TOS 1 to 2.6. Let's talk about the backstory of this before we get too far into the game. What do you think of the backstory of this?
Well, here's the thing for this type of game, right?
Yeah.
Graphics are ripped off.
Yeah.
The music, we're assuming, is probably ripped off, maybe original.
It's pretty good.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
But so what you have to really guide this game off of is gameplay and story.
Yeah.
The story's crap.
Well,
okay.
Okay. Now hold on a second here.
All right.
I can relate to this story,
all
and
right.
I'm going to explain why.
Okay.
So this is a stretch. I'll grant you.
Okay. No. I want to hear this. Tell me about the time you're going to a copy party, got robbed, and then shot a bunch of things.
Hold on a second. I went to a copy party one time at the Huntington Mall.
Okay.
Okay. And it was in a Long John Silver's where they do serve chicken, right? And I did have some discs ripped off that night. Now, by some chickens who were scared to face me. They were chickens. Now, if I'd had a gun, I would have shot them to the tune, to the smooth tunes of this sort of music. So I can understand. And also, I was a strapping young lad with blonde hair.
With long flowing blonde hair.
Mention that. But no, that is true. I did go to a copy party at a Long John Silver's at the mall. This is one Chad put together. And so I will say they accommodated us. We phoned ahead of time, and we got half the restaurant, and we brought our computers in there. That's a shoot. I wish I had pictures of that. It was different back in the 80s.
Yes,
That's all I can tell you, 90s in this case. So, yes, this story, there is some validity to it. Go ahead.
Oh, man. Okay, so the story in this is just fluff. It gives the reason for it to be chickens and to use KFC as a head jerker when you see the title.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm fine with all that.
It is head jerking.
But
I agree with that.
let's be honest, it's just crap. It's fine for what this is.
Brent's
it's
crapping
fine.
all over the title, everybody.
It's fine.
Go ahead.
What else is there to say? There's not much to say. I want to get into the meat and potatoes of this, Aaron, or I guess the
there is no side dish. I can tell you that right now.
The mashed potatoes and the gravy.
Yeah.
What you have here is a competent adventure game where it's one level. Your goal is to collect all the discs, which I believe there are 99,
Yep.
and kill all the enemies, for which there are 20. The level in this is large enough without being so large it's unnavigatable.
I've memorized the majority of the level.
Yeah. And you have to if you actually want to try to collect everything.
Well, also, you really don't have any choice. There's nowhere else to go.
So you have a health bar. If you run to the chickens, you will lose health, but that is never.
I'm not sure I ever took a hit in this game.
That is never a concern because the enemies are huge, fat, slow chickens that walk at you, or an occasional flying mutant green chicken.
I thought that was like a parrot.
Well, I would assume it's a chicken, but
Something tells me it was a parrot in some other game, and now it's a chicken. That's my guess.
So that is not the challenge of the game. The challenge of the game is to find the path that's going to let you collect all the discs and kill all the enemies in the 5.5 minutes allotted. I got very close at this.
Really?
I got 18 enemies killed and 89 discs collected.
Wow, you did better than me. The most I could get was 67.
And the reason why I tried right before this show to get a flawless run, there are a couple sections where you have to blind drop down, and if you don't drop on the right platform...
And you can't get back up there.
Right.
Yeah,
there are a few places where you can't get up. Mechanics speaking, the game scrolls slow, but it does scroll nicely.
It moves slow.
The character animations are nice. Everything is a large sprite.
Yeah.
When you are running and jumping, this game's little claim to fame or a little catch is you think you can jump up onto a platform, but you're just ever so shy of actually making it onto the platform if you run and jump on it.
Right.
If you are standing underneath the platform and jump straight up, you will actually go through the platform and land on it.
See, that claim to fame is no good.
I didn't say
that's a bad claim to fame.
I didn't say it was good. I said that's the
that
main
irritated
pitch.
me early on because I was like, because I spent a good amount of time trying to jump up on the platform. I'm thinking to myself, you're telling me I could jump straight up better than I could run and jump?
Yeah. It's a weird choice. It makes
yes, indeed.
But this game was never meant to hold your attention for more than an hour, which is good because it didn't. The first time you play, you might collect half the disc and kill half the enemies, and then you see, okay, I understand that this is an exploration game. Let's try going up here. Let's try making this jump.
Yeah.
The most dangerous part of the game is there is a place over top of lava where you will crumble
I'm not sure I
away.
ever saw that. I don't remember seeing that.
Well, there is.
That's why I didn't get me disc, clearly.
There's a place where you go over lava where the platforms are every other jumpable space.
Yeah.
And you will either crumble them away or fall in the lava. And the lava doesn't instantly kill you, but it generates your health pretty rapidly. And you have to go over it, collect a bunch of stuff, kill some things, and then go back. That is really the difficult part of the game. That's the only part really that you're ever going to die unless you just run out of time exploring.
Now there's a door you could leave.
Yes.
Did you when you got your disc, did you go to the door?
Yeah.
That's what I did.
In fact,
I always
outside of dying in the lava,
yeah,
which I did do several times, mainly because I was trying to go faster than I should have. The clock in this is very, very tight. it gives you enough time that you can slop up a couple jumps, but if you ever go the wrong way, figure it out and then go back, you are not going to have enough time.
Or if you screw around trying to make a jump for too long.
Right.
So I think that's a pretty good assessment of the basics of the game.
Sure.
We were talking about, here is some behind the scenes stuff, just to give this game some, because I did manage to get the credits of this game and get a look at them. I mentioned it was coded in GFA Basic. That's GFA Basic 3.5. So they did make more of this than I guess what I would have thought, according to what they've got written up here. So they did do sprite work, and that was from a guy named T.A. King. Some of the games, it said some of the graphics were converted from the Renegade game Rough and Tumble, which we knew that, and an unreleased game, Miss Honeybee and the Shock of Magic, another Amiga title, which I've never heard of. It's unreleased. And the sound samples, among other things, were taken from another Renegade game, Magic Pockets, and Magic Boy by Empire Software. So that explains where they got that stuff. So that does shed some light into the game. In terms of the actual, so now that we know where most of this game came from, is the game fun? Well, I'll step in if I may.
I'll let you take the lead.
The game is slow. That's for sure. It could have, if it ran maybe 30% quicker, that would help. But that doesn't mean it's not playably. It still works okay, but it's slow. The game is an incomplete game in that there's only one level, and once the timer runs out, that's in the game. So, I mean, it's a timed game. I don't know if they'd ever plan to do anything else aside from this, and that information isn't listed, but I assume this, like you said, it's a concept of a game. Well, that said, it's a challenging game. You can have fun. I've played, this is nowhere near the worst thing we played on the Atari ST Show. I can tell you that right now, because let's pretend that we never heard of these other games. Okay? If you were to look at this game, you'd think to yourself, man, look at how detailed that graphic is, and he looks good. His hair moves in the breeze. He's got a cool gun. The chickens are comedic and fat, but they look okay. How could they steal these computer discs? That's another question. The discs are multicolored. The castle looks cool. I mean, it's fine. It looks like perfectly acceptable for any game. Now, I will say the kid's gun, the bullets suck. It's this big, awesome gun. In the other game, it shoots stuff like Magic Slug style. In this, it shoots like the tiniest pixel comes out of it. So that stinks. But as a game, as a 5-minute demo, there's fun to be had. This is a game you'll load up once in your entire life, or if you have a buddy over and you want to think that's funny, you would load it up. You would never pay for it. You couldn't because they just got to get sued. But I mean, I think this is okay. I mean, I'm not going to kill it. You know, it's not bad, but I don't know. What do you think of this? Where do you put this thing?
I don't necessarily. I know you say that you feel like the game is too slow.
Yeah.
I feel like the game, if it had more excitement, it would not feel slow. In the entire game, you have 20 enemies.
Yeah.
And the enemies aren't attacking you. You are finding them and killing them.
Yeah.
So this is a very Rambo-esque situation. You're never in danger of dying, which is fine for the type of game it is because it's actually an exploring game where you are trying to find the speedrunniest path to get everything and get out. But
speedrunniest?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
But there are tons of times when you are simply walking and there's nothing going on. That's my biggest gripe on the game. If there was something to do between point A and point B, even if you had to kill 50 enemies and they just put 30 more enemies in the game for you to shoot, that would be fine. But when you are just walking on a platform for 10 seconds to get from one point to another, I think that's what makes it feel slow. I mean, it does run and animate slightly slow, but I think it's fine. I wouldn't even knock it for that. End of the day, I'm not going to play this ever again.
You know, they could have, I'm with you, but they could have actually, even given the bones they've got now, they could have made this more fun, including what you said. But what about, like you said, an enemy that can actually hurt you? How about just simply something that gives you more time? Wouldn't have hurt. I mean, a little more time. Would have been nice. You could have. There's the bones of a game here.
Here's the thing. I lost because of time.
Yeah.
In some places, but I never lost because my clock ran out. I lost because I went from one platform to another and knew I could never get back up onto that platform with the time I had.
Well, there would have to be some level tweaking as well. But I'd like to see. You could have made like. This thing's ripe for like secret passages, secret traps. Like there's something here. The fact that they were using GT Basic on this, I mean, I think it's quite a wonderment that they pulled it off. It's just that this is nothing. This is a proof of concept, and not a game.
Yeah.
And this is a show where normally we try to review full completed games.
That's true.
But this was chosen by the game selection committee. I'm going to throw them on the bus for picking this. Sorry. But I don't think any of them really knew what this was when they picked it.
Well,
and so it's an incomplete game.
But that's the thing. That's fine because it's our job to get in there and let them know what it is.
Yeah.
I agree. This is fine for what it is, but it's also nothing. I think the dude that put this together did an excellent job.
Yeah.
I think that if he ever went back and fleshed it out, if he ever did another project, I would definitely be interested. I think what's here is fine. And I would like to see how deep he could take this in a design perspective. At the end of the day, did I ever perfect the game? No. Do I feel compelled to do that? No. I did try. I did feel compelled enough to try one more time before the show started.
Yeah.
So it's got something. It has some kind of draw.
Yeah, I would like to perfect the game. And then that way, it's a lot like when I beat Crap Man. Like, I don't want to go play Crap Man. And I cheated to get as far as I did in Crap Man. But I can say that I've seen every level, and I never have to pick up Crap Man ever again.
Right. And
this is like Crap Man.
But this is better than Crap Man.
Well, I don't know. Crap Man was a complete game.
Well, it was a complete something.
It was a cheap game. Crap Man had 100 levels. This has part of one level. So no. As much as I didn't like Crap Man, I'm going to say Crap Man's got the edge.
This is definitely a full level. Aaron, did anyone from the community dare to check this out?
I was just checking it because I thought, there's no reason to look. But amazingly, Pajaco somehow from the time played Rodney versus KFC. This is going to be a difficult one to judge, he says, so bear with me. In the grand scheme of game design, it's not that great. It has borrowed assets from a couple of titles, and it is exactly nippy in terms of its frame rate. But it was written in GFA Basic, so not on bare metal. The tune is really good. Is this from another game? I genuinely don't know. We're not sure either.
We're not sure either.
The game gameplay isn't much more than you would get in something like Jet Set Willie. Collect all the things to win the game. Only now Willie has a gun and he's taking out chickens like there is a bird flu epidemic. Again, I will say, this is exponentially simpler than Jet Set Willie in every conceivable way.
Yeah.
But that said, apart from the too short time limit, I actually kind of like this one. It's one evening.
Of course, Pajaco does.
It's a one evening game, pick up and play and never go back game. Basically, an 8-bit game dressed up in a real pretty like for a 16-bit system, and it is nice and simple to play. Not the greatest game ever, but I also didn't want to hurl my controller to the TV, so it wins for that reason.
That's true.
And only Pajaco would award Rodney versus KFC an 8 out of 10. Let me tell you something. That man is a saint among men when it comes to giving game scores out. 8 out of 10.
I know you've lured a lot of souls to hell, but you know what? 6 out of 10, buddy.
You're okay. You're okay in Pajaco's book, that's for sure. Clearly no reviews on this one. In fact, even its entry at the website that covered its initial release has no comments. So there wasn't much to glean from reading anything. But I think Pajaco pretty much said what we did, except for that score. It's a decent looking. It's an admirable effort.
It plays well,
but it's No.
It
plays okay.
I mean, control-wise.
No, well would be fast.
Control-wise.
With multiple levels.
Control-wise.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. I mean, so we're really judging on an ultra curve, is what you're saying on this one.
Aaron, what I want to know is, would you rather play this or, say, Lionheart?
Well, I think you know the answer to that one, the BRENT. As we move out of this one, let's never speak of that one again, the BRENT. It's funny, we've been doing it. You've been on the Atari ST Show now for about a year.
Way more than that, Aaron.
I can't remember.
Way more than that.
We've played some real ding-dong games on this show over the years. And this is another one. This is the kind of game that we end up playing on the Atari ST. These weird little wacky games. So I'm hoping next week, Brent, we're going to have a game we can sink our teeth into. Are you excited to see what's up next for the Atari ST Show?
Hit us with it.
You asked for it. Here we go. Next time out.
Dramatic pause.
Well, try to read what that motor massacre. It's motor massacre. My God. How could they move any boxes? Who can read what that says?
Give me the game with that lettering on it.
Motor massacre. Well, that sounds okay.
Well,
this is how they get me every time. I think I said the same thing about the last one. It sounds okay, though, but I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. Why don't you tell the people what's up this weekend on ARG Presents the Brent, if you could remember what's up this weekend.
You mean the next game the next subject that we're covering?
Yeah, it's ARG Presents this week. What is it? You don't remember, do you?
Motor Mayhem?
No, that's Atari ST Show, you dim bulb. It's overhyped, overblown, expensive game.
Motor Mayhem.
No, we don't know that. It could be great. That's going to be coming up. That'll be coming up. Actually, it'll be June 1st. It'll be ARG Presents this weekend, June 1st, and that'll be released next week. The next time we will be doing the Atari ST Show, holy smokes, it's way into the future. It'll be sometime mid-July. It's a TBA right now. Next, we've got BoatFest stuck in there, so we'll have to figure out how that goes. But Motor Massacre, so we've got plenty of time to crank that up. I'm looking forward to playing a proper real game. I'm hoping that this is the one. Now, I don't want to be down on the Atari ST. Just, man, we've had some ups and downs with this machine over the years. It's been
Aaron, now see, that's not fair. I'm impressed by the ST.
Okay, go ahead.
When you think you've hit bottom, there's somehow more to go.
Oh, would you stop?
No, the ST has got plenty of stuff out there.
Here's the disclaimer, everyone.
It's just finding the unique to ST stuff that's difficult.
Like the thing we just played?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. And with that, another Atari ST draws to a close. We will be back again this coming week. The ARG Presents. We hope you will join us. So we hope you had a pleasant holiday weekend, and we will see you next time. Until then, make sure you play
Rodney versus KFC today.
No, hold on, stop. Ignore that. Just play something on your Atari. Have a good week, everyone. Well, that was into that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we'll go. I think we're gonna have to seriously consider our plans going forward. And I think what we had talked about in the beginning of the show is a tremendous idea, and we can do a job better.
Well, you missed the conversation we had earlier, Happy.
It's that.
Thank you, Tex. Tex, you're the Pajako of show reviews. I appreciate that. You're too kind.
Yeah, happy for those that came in late and didn't see pre-show. We have considered. We're not making any declarations today, but we have considered that instead of covering the Atari ST, we are going to cover Atari as a whole for this show, which would mean consoles like the 2600, the 7800, computers 800, 400, not the Falcon, and the ST, and even like arcade stuff, like different games that they had in the arcade.
I've got an idea for the name of the new show. You ready? And this is minimum effort.
By new show, he means possible new show.
Instead of the Atari ST Show, we'll call it the Atari's Show. We'll just get rid of the T.
No, that's horrible.
And then we'll just do that, and then you're in.
But we're going to talk it over with the Patreon. So if you are signed up on, and it doesn't have to be just an ST tier, but any tier with the Patreons, I'm going to get this conversation started either today or tomorrow, and see where the Patreons want to kind of steer the ship. And again, I'm not down in the ST. I think the ST is a fine machine, but I think we are doing Atari overall an injustice by just sticking to one system.
That was very diplomatic of
Thank
you.
you.
That's a brand. I want one more informal poll.
Including the Jag, yep.
Would anyone that's currently watching or in chat be gravely upset if we expanded the show to more Ataris? That's because that's really all that matters. If no one's gravely upset about it, that helps. And if everyone else is positive about it, that seals the deal.
Yeah. And on top of that, I mean, I can even see a thing where we do an actual. This is way up in the air. I haven't talked to Aaron about it.
You're signing me up to something now.
No, but an actual 4-week rotation where we do each show every week.
Even the Coco?
Yeah, even the Coco.
I do think the Coco has a lot more game action than the Atari ST does.
Well, you're right. No, we do an Atari show, a Coco show, a ZX show, and then ARG.
But you'd be eliminating a lot of. That would be cutting into R. Sinclair and ARG.
Yeah, we might have to. It's a tweakable thing. We'll have to see. But I think
what we need is a longer year.
Well, I'll get on that. But I think if we are expanding the Atari concept to go above just the ST, I think there's a lot more reason to have shows. More shows.
We could do ARG, R. Sinclair, Coco, ARG, R. Sinclair, ST, ARG, R. Sinclair, Coco. That would get more of the other two shows.
That's pretty much what we're doing now.
No, that's all we're doing now.
Well,
now we're doing
close.
ARG, R. Sinclair, ARG, blah. So that would be easier.
Yeah, we'll count that out. We'll talk to the peeps. If you are a member...
I want you to run the Atari show, by the way. I'm out.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Because you're great at that.
No.
You've got to design all the new... Brent's going to design all new sets.
We haven't even decided
This is your baby. No. This is your baby. You have to get a new hat for the Atari show.
If you get me an Atari hat, I'll wear it.
That's a Namco shirt. You got to get rid of that.
But if you are a member of our Patreon or would like to support us on Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/TheRetroRotation. You can sign up for any of the tiers to support just your favorite show, be it the Coco, the ZX,
the
ARG
Atari
Presents.
Yeah,
the Atari
sign
show.
Up.
Or you can spend a little bit more money and support all the shows. Any of that will get you into the Discord for all the shows. And considering that is currently a significant portion of my income, I would appreciate it.
One thing I think that we should also look into is giving up all of our plugs and stuff after we've ended the show. In retrospect, boy, that would have been a great speech to give during the show.
Well, I don't like doing that.
I know you don't, but I'm just saying these people are almost all already Patreons. You're preaching to the choir with them. They love you. somehow, despite all your hideous flaws. So that's nice. Well, thank you, everybody, for enduring our wacky antics today. Anything? We got nothing special going on until Boat Fest now.
Yeah.
It's
I think this could be fun.
June. We got Boat Fest is coming. We didn't build that either. It's July 11th. I mean, it's coming up in a month in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
Would you stop?
What?
Would you get excited about it?
We should change the name to Boat Fest.
Atari Today Show? Who's going to do the weather? I don't know. Also, what is going on at Atari today? We're building another crypto casino. That's what we're doing.
All right, we're off the rails.
All right, everybody. Bye. See you guys next time. By the way, this Friday.